everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Class at Johnson County Community College. I'm Emily Fowler, and we have a special guest chef in our kitchen today. We're in the culinary department here at the college, and our guest is Chef Dan Swinney, who's the executive chef at Lydia's Restaurant in Kansas City. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to Dan a little bit about his background, and then we're going to get into a wonderful recipe he's going to prepare for us. But I guess my first question to most of our guests is, how did you get interested in being a chef or in cooking?
Well, my parents weren't very good cooks.
You know, I hear both of those things. They were great or they were horrible.
I'm actually, seriously, I'm not really sure. It just kind of took over my train of thought when I was in high school, and I cooked for a while when I was in high school, but there were a lot of other things that I wanted to do at the time, so I kind of put it off, making a career decision, a serious career decision, until I was in my late 20s, and that's when I found the program here at Johnson County Community College. And
right, you are an alum of our program, and we're very proud to be able to say that.
1988, I graduated 21 years ago.
Okay.
John Joyce, the late John Joyce, was my supervising chef, and so, you know, I've been doing it full-time ever since.
That's great. So that got you your start. So you were a chef apprentice student when you were here, as well as other things, and you now help supervise some of our chef apprentices in your restaurant.
I've graduated from Lydia's three apprentices in the last almost 11 years that I've been there.
That's great.
And I have 2 apprentices currently.
All right. And do you have somebody with you here today?
I do. I do. Pat Peluso is my assistant today.
Come on in, Pat. It's a real life student right here, Johnson County Community College chef apprentice student. So you've been working with Dan for a little while, and you're going to graduate after another year or so?
This fall, actually, I'll be graduating.
That's great. Well, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So after you left our program, you became a sous chef someplace?
My first job was actually sous chef of the executive sous chef of the Woodlands Racetrack, and then I went on to, I did some larger operations like that, the Woodlands, and then I kind of focused on some smaller things for a while because I wanted to pay more attention to detail to the food.
Okay.
And so I was executive chef of the Classic Cup in Westport for about 3 years. Oh, yes. A very small kind of bistro restaurant, and now now in working at Lydia's, I kind of found that I utilize all of the skills that I learned over the last 20 years, you know, because it's a larger restaurant, we do higher volume, but there's a lot of attention to detail to the food. So.
Okay. Now, do you get to interact regularly with Lydia?
Yes, we're in contact all the time.
Great.
We travel together sometimes. We do events at the restaurant. She's in Kansas City 5-6 times a year. But yeah, she's very hands-on. One of the things I really like about working with her is that you know, she's a well-known television chef and a well-known cookbook author, but she's also a really terrific restaurateur. She knows everything about the business, from service to finance to the cuisine. So.
And Lydia's obviously focuses on the Italian cuisine.
Yes, mostly food from Lydia's family history, personal history. From the part of Italy that she is from is the very far northeastern corner. Friuli, Venezia Giulia is the region. And so it's very much a border cuisine, because a lot of the influences in the cuisine there are Yugoslavian and Slavic. So, you know, we have things like cabbage rolls on the menu in the fall. And it's not your typical Italian cuisine, but we do foods from all over Italy as well.
Now, was Italian cuisine something that you already knew a lot about when you went to work at Lydia's, or is it something?
Yeah, it was always my first love of cuisine, and I've always, even when I was in college, I cooked a lot of Italian food and for my roommates, and I would have dinner parties. It's always been my first love because it's kind of it's not a real adulterated cuisine. It's more about choosing really great fresh ingredients and not manipulating them too much. And that's always appealed to me. Lydia's is actually my third Italian restaurant that I've worked in. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it's funny because I had been following Lydia's career for probably 7 or 8 years before I ever found out that she was coming to Kansas City to open a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
So I already knew a lot about her and her food when she made the decision to come to Kansas City to open a restaurant. So I made it a point to introduce myself to her, and so things worked out well.
That's great. Seems like a really good fit.
Yeah.
Well, now tell us a little bit about what you're going to be preparing for us today.
This dish is called chicken with roasted lemon, green olives, and capers. And it's a recipe that Lydia and I developed for the Kansas City restaurant in 2000. It's been one of our most popular dishes ever since. It's on every one of our menus, lunch, dinner, brunch. It's featured on the epicurious.com website, and it was in Bon Appetit in 2001. And it's one of the most popular chicken dishes on the Epicurious website. So.
Oh, wonderful.
So.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you prepared.
Great. Okay.
How about you? I'll try to stay out of your way a little bit.
No problem. So the first thing that we do when we're preparing the lemon chicken dish is to make the roasted lemons, and for that we just very thinly slice some. You need a very sharp knife for this. About 12 lemon slices. I'm preparing the dish for 4 people.
Okay.
So.
How much of this would you say you sell every day or every week at Lydia's here in Kansas City?
About 300 orders.
Wow.
Depending on the week. So.
That's a lot of lemons.
You could do this on a mandolin, or if you had a slicer, that would be a good way to do it. And then you would just lay this out on parchment paper or some sort of oven-proof paper.
Okay.
The thinner the better, pretty much. And then this is just extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to brush these very lightly with the olive oil. Sprinkle with a little salt.
Okay.
And they go into a 325-degree oven for about 25 minutes. You could do these the day before if you like, and just hold them over.
Okay.
And this is what the finished product looks like after it comes out of the oven.
Okay. And do you worry about seeds or anything? You take those off after they've cooked?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason we roast the lemon is to kind of concentrate the flavor, and then when the lemon goes back into the sauce, when the dish is made finally, and it flavors the sauce with its essence. So the next step is to prepare the spinach for the dish.
Okay.
And this is just about a pound of organic spinach that you would find in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets blanched.
And you're doing stems and all?
It's pretty cleaned up, but a few stems are okay.
Okay. And do you season your water before you put those in there?
Yes. We season. Actually, seasoning is a good thing to talk about. We season everything that we cook at the restaurant kind of in stages. So like if we're making a dish that's several steps, we'll add a little bit of salt at every step, so it kind of builds layers of flavors.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you've got your spinach
So
cooking down.
really just about a minute is all it takes. And the reason that we're blanching is to kind of take the mineral-y taste out of it.
Okay.
You just put that into a colander or some sort of apparatus to drain it. So we just set that aside. We'll use that later.
Okay.
The last thing that we need for the spinach is some thin slices of garlic.
And how much garlic would you say you go through at Lydia's every week?
About
A million cloves?
We go through about 40 pounds of peeled garlic a week.
Really?
So.
Wow. But that's what makes it taste really good.
Okay, so now we're going to get together the mise en place for the finished dish. And when I say mise en place, I mean everything that we need to finish the dish. It's because
Okay.
before we actually start cooking, that's how we do it in the professional kitchen, is we have everything in place, which is what mise en place means.
Okay.
So,
So you don't have to stop and go and chop something or...
right, as long as you have everything in front of you or nearby and everything's ready to go, then the cooking process is simple to complete.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not.
Exactly, exactly.
The next thing we need are some green olives, and this particular type of olive is called Cerignola. It's a nice creamy. You could also use Sicilian olives or Castelvetrano or another olive, but a nice big Italian green olive. And instead of smashing the olive to get the pit out, because these are not pitted, I'm just going to cut around the pit.
Okay.
So they have nice little, nice looking slices.
Is there a place in Kansas City that you like to get olives? Or do you guys just have them brought in?
Well, we buy a lot of imported product at the restaurant, which we get through a local Italian specialty supplier. But there are a number of places where you can get good Italian specialty products in Kansas City. Bella Napoli in Brookside is one.
Okay.
Carollo's in the city market is another.
Okay. How many people work in your kitchen at Lydia's?
We have a total staff in the restaurant of about 70 people. In the kitchen, it's about 20 cooks and 7 dishwashers. So
Okay.
it's we everything we do in the restaurant is made on premise, which is a little bit old-fashioned, I think, for a lot of restaurants. But we're we're insistent on making everything from scratch. So we make all of the pasta daily in the restaurant, except for what is the dried imported pasta that comes from Italy.
Okay.
All our own breads, our desserts are all made in-house.
Oh. Again, that's what makes it so great. Very fresh.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. So now that we have everything in place, all the mise en place is ready to go, it's time to finish the dish.
Okay.
So first we start by seasoning the chicken with, we like to use kosher salt in the restaurant for when we're cooking on the line or finishing dishes, because it has a lot of, you can feel the grains, and it's difficult to oversalt because you can kind of feel how much you're putting on.
Okay, and this is another layer of seasoning like you were talking about. Okay.
So a common mistake that young cooks make is they want to season the flour that the dish is dredged in, but that really doesn't season the food. So
Okay.
we season it at this point, and then again after it's actually being sautéed. So.
Okay. So you've got 8 chicken breasts here that you're working with.
This, as we said, is a dish enough to make for 4 people. So since I only have one burner, I'm going to prepare the spinach first and set it aside, and then we'll finish up with the lemon chicken.
Okay.
All right. So to finish the spinach, we're going to take the sliced garlic that we did earlier, and I preheated this sauté pan, and I added a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just going to toast this garlic very lightly until it's just lightly browned around the edges. We like to slice the garlic at Lydia's instead of chop
Crushing?
it or crush it through put it through like a garlic press or something like that, because it seems to keep the flavor a little more mellow.
Okay. And is that pretty much across the board in all your recipes?
Pretty much. You know, occasionally we'll roast some garlic whole, but for pretty much everything we use sliced garlic.
Now, is that a Northern Italian preference, do you think, or just Lydia's preference? Or?
I think that's Lydia's preference. They seem to use a lot more garlic in the South than in the North.
Okay.
See how the
Oh, it's getting nice and
just
golden.
getting a nice and golden, a little bit of caramelization on the. So
it smells good too.
you can you know, you can toast garlic like this, but if you get up to the point where it's black, then it becomes very bitter. So so
I have done that just
I've
once,
done it too.
but that's all it took.
so the spinach is already cooked, so we're really just reheating it
Okay.
and seasoning it with a little salt. And then we like to sprinkle some fresh breadcrumbs into the spinach. And it combines with the liquid in the spinach and makes it very velvety.
Okay. Any particular kind of bread that you use for the crumbs?
We just use, these are dried breadcrumbs that you
Okay.
find in the grocery store.
Okay. And are they seasoned at all or just
No,
plain?
just plain.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll set that aside.
All right, now we're going to move on
Okay.
to, and you tell me.
So I'm going to go ahead and plate the spinach on this platter, just in preparation of the finished dish. Okay, so now I've preheated this saute pan, and it's really important. Whenever you say saute, it's the same process. Preheat the pan,
Okay.
preheat the oil, and then don't use too much. It's the least amount possible.
Okay.
It's a common mistake that young cooks make, is trying to saute too cold or with way too much oil.
Okay. So no cold pans.
Preheat the pan, then add the oil and let the oil get hot.
Okay. So how much olive oil do you go through at Lydia's every week?
We go through, let's see, a case is 12 liters, which is 3 gallons,
Yeah.
and we go through about 25 cases a week.
Wow.
So,
And you're not like bathing in it or anything out back. You're actually using it to cook with.
yeah, we use it for everything, especially to finish pastas, because one of the things that we're most known for at Lydia's is our pasta. It's really Lydia's specialty, and we have a menu that we serve every day that's a trio of pastas that they change all the time, usually from service to service. And that's where we use most of the olive oil, because it's a big part of the finishing of the pasta is to dress it with raw olive oil.
I see.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, for folks that haven't been there, it really is a wonderful way to try different kinds of pasta that maybe you haven't had before. Sampling each of those, it's a really wonderful way to do that.
And as I said, you know, we make everything in-house. We have about 10 different ravioli preparations that we rotate through. We make gnocchi, which is the potato dumplings.
Okay.
All kinds of fresh pastas, fettuccine, pappardelle, trinette.
Now, as you said earlier, you've seasoned your chicken, but you really don't have any salt and pepper in the flour. The flour is plain, is that right?
That's what I believe is the best way. So we're just going to let the chicken brown very, very nicely on one side,
Okay.
all of them.
And does it matter which side of the chicken you put in first?
Well, actually, I guess it does. I would call this the presentation side, or the side that you're going to serve up
Okay.
to present to the guests. And that would be the most attractive side, or the side that wasn't cut away from the bone.
Okay.
So, good question.
And you want to let it kind of rest and really kind of caramelize on that side. I
Right.
think some people have a tendency to flip it really quick and try to
Right.
get it to finish up.
Just let it take its time. You don't want to cook with too much heat, just gentle, kind of moderate heat.
Okay.
And let it take its time and become nice and golden. If you try to blast it too much, the flour will burn. And
And I saw you sneaking a little more oil in, so that's okay once you've got
just
things going.
you know, I underestimated a little bit what I needed, so I adjusted.
Okay.
But it's easier to put a little more in than it is to take some out. You know, so. By the nature of what this dish is, how it's finished, which is it's a sauce made with butter.
Okay.
If there's too much oil in the pan, then you won't be able to get the butter to emulsify in the stock, and it'll break,
Okay.
and it will be attractive. So these are nice and golden on this side, and we turn them all over.
Oh, those are great.
So this is another opportunity to add a little layer of flavor, just not too much. You don't want to end up with a salty dish at the end, but we had salt on the outside of the chicken, and we've been cooking it, and so moisture has escaped, and so some of the salt has gone away. So we're going to add a little bit more.
And again, the kosher salt is a little milder, so layering it that way isn't going to make it too salty.
Yeah, the crystals are hollow, and so that's what it's it's easier to tell how much you're putting in because it's
not so fine.
It's not so fine.
Yeah.
It's bigger. Okay. So now the chicken is been turned over. It's cooked for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
It's getting close to being done. So we're going to add. Let's do that. Let's do the olives.
Okay.
Some capers.
Okay.
Let those toast a little bit in the.
So a couple tablespoons of capers there, maybe?
Yeah, for 4 people, I'd say 2 tablespoons would be good.
Okay.
And then this is chicken stock, or could be canned broth from the store if you don't happen to have chicken stock on hand.
Okay.
So we're going to let the stock cook in with the chicken. It's going to finish cooking the chicken.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our roasted lemon slices.
Uh-huh.
We just push those down into the sauce so they can release their flavor.
Okay.
And then as you're eating the dish, you get a little piece of the lemon, and it's a nice peppery bite during while you're eating the dish.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a nice surprise. About how much chicken stock are you adding there? A cup or 2?
For 4 people, it would be about a cup and a half.
Okay. Okay, so your chicken is cooking down. Your stock is
So we'll let
reducing.
this stock cook away almost probably by about half.
Okay.
Okay, and the last thing that we're going to do is add butter to make a sauce. And
Now that's a lot of butter.
we're only going to use the appropriate amount.
Oh, okay.
So. But
It's better with butter, though, they say.
so we put in maybe 2.5, 3 tablespoons of butter. And you can leave the heat going pretty
Okay.
high and just cut the pieces of butter into the sauce, and you see how it's emulsifying and making a nice creamy sauce.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and the very last touch is a little chopped parsley.
Mm-hmm. So really just cooking it till the butter melts.
Just enough to melt into the sauce and emulsify.
Okay.
So the last layer of flavor is a little bit of salt in the sauce.
Okay. wonderful.
Thank you.
It smells wonderful too. And you've got your olives, you've got capers, you've got lemon, and you've got chicken.
Butter, chicken stock.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in to Cooking with Class. We've been here with Dan Swinney from Lydia's Restaurant in Kansas City. If you'd like more information about the recipe Dan prepared today, you can go to our website, www.jccc.edu, and there's also information there about our culinary program here at the college. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you to Dan,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next time.